Hello everyone, I am here today again to do another journal flip through. I finished volume 41 a few days ago and I just didn't feel up to filming the flip through, but I kind of forced myself today, and so I hope you like it. This notebook is one that I have reviewed before. It is by a company called Melsbrinna. You can find them on Amazon for about $7. When I first reviewed this notebook, I reviewed it very favorably, and this time though, when I was writing in it, I had a very different experience. So while this notebook takes fountain pen ink very well, I will let you know what my qualms were with it. So this is volume number 41. And I added my little miracles thing. I didn't really write very much on there, but I want to keep putting these in my journals so that I can be encouraged to write more little miracles in there. So I was in this journal from March 5th to March 16th, and I journaled a total of 139 pages. So here's my pen and ink log, and as you can see, I used quite a few inks and pens, and these will all be in my video at the end of the month of the pens that I used throughout the month. And here we go. So the first ink that I used in my notebook was Pilot Iroshizuku Kozumosu. I really like this ink because it's really bright and fun and cheerful and a really great spring color. This is an ink I tend to reach for if I'm feeling kind of down. Then I'll reach for a bright ink like Murasaki Shikibu or Kozumosu to just kind of give me a lift. And so mostly writing. The next ink I used was Linen Toolbar's Mucha Iron Goddess Tea, which I actually, I used to use Rohrer & Klingner Alt Goldgrün, but when I compared the two, I actually liked how more olivey the Mucha Iron Goddess Tea was. So I ended up selling Alt Goldgrün in favor of keeping this one. And you'll see that at the corners of some pages, I've got more of those washi stickers and just different stickers throughout here. And I will tell you that all of my pens that I used in here, I don't really remember this about the first notebook, but they all wrote really, really thick. And I use fine tipped pens, and many of them, actually pretty much all of the fine tipped pens I used all wrote like mediums. And after a while in here in my notebook, I really didn't like that. The next one I used, I don't have a swatch for because it was a cartridge that I wanted to use up. It was a Monteverde blue-black cartridge that I used in my Lamy charcoal. Or just writing. The next one up, I used Pilot Iroshizuku Shinryuku, and this is one of my favorite inks. It always makes me happy to use. I like that it's a really good cross between teal and green, and it has really great shading. As you can see, I have some little pictures to kind of, just to be pretty to look at, and I'm using them up. They are in my stash of pictures that I printed out from Pinterest ages and ages ago. So as you may know, I am in the process of using up all of my things, my stationery things. So again, we've got Kozumosu and a washi sticker, and I've been using up these little word stickers that I had from a Tim Holtz spiral little booklet that I found and I didn't even realize I had. So I'm using those up too. Here is more Mucha Iron Goddess tea. The next one I used was, come here, De Atramentis Jane Austen, and I used this in a stub nib. I want to say it's a 1.5 stub, and it's in my vintage Schaefer No Nonsense, and I hadn't used it in ages, so I pulled it out and I was just playing with it in here, and it really showed the shading of Jane Austen very well. I really liked that. And so I was just choosing, you know, the color of the little washi stickers to go along with the inks. This is one of my tarot pulls that I did. I was trying to do a tarot pull in the morning every day. And I have to say that I am loving my Labyrinth tarot deck, and learning more and more about tarot, and just learning more and diving deeper into myself. I really like that. More Kazumosu. And then here is some more De Atramentis Jane Austen. I was experimenting with different ways to hold the pen to find the best writing angle. Here's some iced coffee, yum, and more Shinryoku. The next ink I used was Diamine Oxblood. This was one of my, I think it was the third ink that I ever used, or that I ever bought. And my bottle is almost done, so pretty soon I'm going to have my first empty bottle of ink from my empties collection. I'm really excited. It is such a beautiful color. I love how deep it is, and I actually like this a lot better than Writer's Blood. Here it is up against Diamine Rustic Brown. And let me find Writer's Blood real quick here in my sample cards. I should have pulled it out so I could compare, but I didn't think I was going to do that. Where is it at? My little sample cards are, actually this paper in general is kind of hard to pick up. And when you pick it up, it often kind of gets away from you, or you pick up 2 or 3 at a time. But I prefer using, here we go, I prefer using this paper over other paper to do swatches on, because I don't write on like really good, pretty, you know, perfect Tomoe River paper every time. So you can see the difference between the more pink burgundy, you know, a brownie brown, and Oxblood. They're very different from each other. I only have a little bit of my sample left of Rustic Brown, and I did like writing with it, but I don't think this is a bottle that I'm going to worry about getting. I think once my bottle of Oxblood is done, I will probably just get another bottle of Oxblood. I really like it. My daughter likes it too, so both of us have been using Oxblood to write with. And I was drinking my tea, and as you can see, the lines are so thick. They look like medium, you know, medium lines, and all of this was written with a fine nib. And here is another tarot pull that I did that day with Kozumosu, another washi sticker, and another Tim Holtz word. Shinryoku and some Hita stickers. I'm actually almost out of my Hita stickers, so that little paper will go in my empties. And more De Atramentis Jane Austen, and this was a quick poem that I wrote just to kind of see if I could still write poetry. I wrote it in like 2 minutes. Night falls on my face and I reach out to grasp the last embers of dead sunlight. My face becomes cold, empty, and the sun has left me alone again in the dark. I can't see, can't feel, can't find my bearings. Which way is it that the sun will bless my face again when it rises? I'll turn to it and wait through the dark alone. Sunflower. I just kind of decided to write a poem really quickly, and that's what I did. I don't remember why, but I just did. And I'm coming down to my last maybe 30 of the La Vida Dolce stickers too. So pretty soon I am going to be out of a lot of my ephemera and whatnot. Guardians of the Galaxy is one of my favorite Marvel movies. More Kozumosu and Chai Tea and another tarot pull with Oxblood. More Shinryoku. And this was actually just a cartridge of black ink that I used in my 1Kai mini. It was the last cartridge of black ink that came with my mini. So I just used that up. Let me just fix this real quick. And so I don't have a swatch of that, but it's just a basic black from Moonman. Little washi sticker with swans and ducks. The next one I used was Noodler's Rome Burning. I have used this multiple times last month, and I'm actually writing with it again. It's the 21st today is when I'm filming, and I've already written with this twice in the month. So I really, really like this. And I actually did order a bottle. It is not here yet though. And this is a really great quote that I really liked. Writers end up writing about their obsessions, things that haunt them, things they can't forget, stories they carry in their bodies waiting to be released, by Natalie Goldberg. And I am still working on my very first novel. And so that's one of those encouraging thoughts. And I also write about my obsessions too. I write about my pens and my inks and my journals, and as I'm going through journals, I write about, you know, my likes and dislikes with them and what I wish, you know, I could take from each type of journal that I've ever, you know, written with and make like this Franken journal that, you know, would check all of my boxes every time. I don't think that will ever happen though. More Kozumosu, and I had not been using any really of the purple washi stickers, so I did 2 washi stickers that time. But of course, it's all mostly writing. This is a passage from the book Simple Abundance that I've showed before about taking the plunge. And so I wrote about how I felt about the passage. More Kozumosu, and here is where I began my next one, which is Diamine Ancient Copper. You know, the first time I wrote with this ink, it was from a sample from Goulet, and I really didn't like it. It was like, oh, it's too orangey for me. I didn't like it at all. But I had also had Diamine, oh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's even more of an orange, and I didn't like that either. And it took me digging out or going through my samples again and seeing that I still had some ancient copper left, and I was like, oh, well, I should go ahead and use it because I wanted to use up my samples rather than just letting them sit and collect. I don't want to just collect samples. I want to actually use them. And it was the second time that I wrote with Ancient Copper that I actually really, really enjoyed it. So this was the start of Ancient Copper, and this was some more of the black 1Kai mini. Ancient Copper, I got a new nail polish that day, which I actually really like. It's on my nails now. Oh, ink. On my nails now, this hand and then these 2 fingers. I don't remember what it's called, but it's from Essie, and I really like it. Here's more Rome Burning, and this is a picture that comes up a lot in all of my journals. I just really like, I own 2 typewriters and I love typing, and I feel like they bring me closer to writing, I guess. Here's Rome Burning. More Rome Burning. And then here's some more Oxblood. Another tarot pool with Ancient Copper. And the One Kai Black. And this is more One Kai Black. And okay, so I have to tell you about the next few pages. I was so angry in this book. I really did not like writing in this Melsbrinna this time at all, because it made all of my nibs that were fine write like mediums or even broads. And I don't like that. So I went through some of my books that I have, my notebooks I have yet to use, and pulled out some paper, and I tried out my different inks on those papers, and I realized that yes, this notebook was actually pulling out more ink and making a thicker line. So this was Midori MD paper, and this was my Moon Man One Kai Mini with the One Kai Black on the MD paper, and this is how it is on Melsbrinna paper. You can really see a huge difference. This is when I was writing with Ancient Copper with my Koa wood kit pen, which I've actually just given away to someone who was interested, and I just gave it to her. But you can see the difference between this line and this line. Now I do like that more of the ink was able to be seen and there was more shading, but this is a fine nibbed pen bordering on extra fine, and it wrote in here very thickly. And this was my Charcoal Lamy Safari on the MD paper, and this is how it wrote on the Melsbrinna. So you can see that this next to this is a huge difference, and it made me really angry at this notebook, because I think I loved this notebook before, but then this time it was just, I just couldn't hack it. So this was my Hongdian Black Forest on here, and then my Jinhao Centennial, which was really small. This was Lechner 1917 paper, and this, as you can see, is the same pen as up here, and the way it writes is completely different. So I was so mad, I just wrote really big right there. And then I wrote, because I'm mad. So the next day, more Ancient Copper, and then more Oxblood, and I decided to do even more testing. So back here was the Midori MD paper. This is the paper that I actually use. I actually used Midori MD journals for my manuscripts. I'm currently in book 2 of my current manuscript, so I've already completed one Midori MD, which got me halfway through my novel, and I'm in the second one now, which will take me through the end of my novel. And I really like the grid width on the Midori MD paper and how well everything writes on it, so that's why it's in here. This was the Leuchtturm 1917, and then I also used in here a piece of the Dingbat paper, which is the journal I'm in now, and this was a piece of the Jumping Fox journal that I reviewed not long ago, which also everything also wrote very, very thick on. So I really like the way everything wrote on the Dingbat journal, and I'm in that journal now, and I'm really enjoying it. More Oxblood. And then this is Birmingham Pen Company's Ohio River. Do I have another thing in here? Yeah. I'm not really a teal girl, and when I first got this ink, I didn't like it, because it just, to me, it was teal, but with nothing special to it. But I kept the bottle, and then I found that I actually liked writing with it in my Savannah Lamy Safari. But I have since, but that was it. I didn't like writing with it in anything else. But since then, I realized that I had the bottle. It's not a horrible ink, and so I wanted to use it up. So I used it in my Melsbrinna, and even though I didn't like how thick the line was, I did enjoy writing with the teal ink. And as you can see right there, I paid off my credit card and I was so happy. And this is how I felt, like in a field full of flowers with the wind blowing in my hair and birds flying in the background. And I said, I am almost debt free except for my student loan. More One Kai Black, more Oxblood. I want to commit to saving $1,000, like Dave Ramsey says, and I want to use some of that money to go to a writer's conference in Florida. So I've got student loan to pay off, money to save for a writer's conference, and then maybe you want to be able to save a little bit to play with. Yeah. So this was a writing prompt from Tina. I've been doing her writing prompts that she recently released for Writing for Peace. And this is a picture of homes because I just got sentimental again because I just want to find our forever home. I started reading a great book called Letters from a Stoic by Seneca. And so these are some little tiny notes that I was taking. More tea, Oxblood, and Ancient Copper. And then this right here was the start of writing with Sailor Ink Studio 967, which is one of my favorite green inks that I have. It is such a happy green ink. It can be dark in a thicker nib, but also lighter. And if it had been any lighter, if it was any lighter than what's here, then I probably wouldn't like writing with it. The next ink that I started using was Sailor Mano Haha. I wasn't sure how I would feel about this ink when I swatched it before, and I was like, oh, that's really pretty. But I always look at the bottom of swatches because that's usually how it's going to write in your notebook. That's usually how it's going to write. And I've watched so many videos on this ink, but it actually wrote really nicely. I was able to, it's legible, and I enjoyed writing with it. Some more Ohio River 967, more Haha with washi sticker, and this is a journaling card. I was whining about something, and then I put the journaling card there to tell me no whining. More 967 and another tarot pull, Sailor Mano Haha. This was a piece of ephemera that I've had for the longest time, and I was finally tired of pulling it out with, accidentally pulling it out with other ephemeras. Ohio River 967 with some more little washi stickers. Haha. Ohio River right next to Haha, so you can see the map, the difference. I wrote with Pilot Varsity Blue for just this amount, and I thought, because I have the pen, and I was like, okay, I want to use it up. And then I wrote with it, and I was like, no, not in this book. The next ink was Kala Nostalgia Sierra Mist, and this is another one of my favorites. I use it every month. I really love it. And another tea, and this is a quote from Seneca that I really liked. What need is there to take an advance on future troubles, ruining the present with fears of the future? And that was really timely because I've had a lot of fears of the future, of moving. Yeah. Next ink, Pilot Oroshizuku Murasaki Shikibu, which is, I only have three purples. I have Murasaki Shikibu, Yamaburo, and Ventus ink, Harlequin Vaudeville 1920. And so this is just like Kazumosu, where when I'm feeling down, it's a nice, bright, happy ink to reach for. More 967, Sierra Mist, another tarot pull, and a really cute little ephemera that kind of matches. 967. The last ink I used in here was Ferris Wheel Presses Lady Rose, which I really like. I liked how my pen wrote with it in here, which is, you know, I didn't like how my pen wrote with other stuff throughout here. But I really liked it this time because I was able to see the pink really well, and there was a lot of really great shading. And that, oh, and the last ones I wrote with was Sierra Mist, and then I moved these pins that I had just inked, so Sierra Mist, Lady Rose, and Murasaki Shikibu are the pens that moved me into my next journal, which is the journal I'm in now, which is the Dingbats. And that is my entire flip through. So again, like I said, I really wasn't crazy about this journal this time, which is weird because, you know, last time I used it, I was absolutely raving about it. But this time I just noticed how it made my inks and my pens behave more, and I didn't really like that. But I finished the journal, I didn't hop out of it, and I am quite proud of myself. So I hope you enjoyed this little flip through. If you did, I hope that you would hit that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video and you like what I do, I would encourage you to visit my Ko-Fi link, which you can find in the description below. And you can leave a little tip in the tip jar, and that just lets me know that I did a good job and to keep going with what I'm doing. I thank you so much for watching, and I wish you greatness.